Welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Elders Inspire Awe podcast. I am myratara of Heroes Hermitage and the Sacred Mother Elders Council. Today we're talking about the Incarnation contract, the later life purpose reserved only for elders. Now, you've no doubt heard of the concept self-actualization. Most of us are quite familiar with that idea. Well, I want to suggest here that self-actualization is no longer the summit of life, but has become a threshold to an even greater contribution. And that is the Incarnation contract, which is only possible when we reach elderhood. So elderhood is a kind of continuation of that line of growth. Now, elderhood itself is not a birthday. It's not a number. Elderhood begins when a person has lived through enough life, integrated enough experiences, and cultivated enough inner capacity to carry a purpose that could not have revealed itself any earlier. This is the later life purpose that I'm calling the Incarnation contract. It emerges only after a long preparation that we never realized was happening until the new reality becomes unmistakable. So self-actualization in Maslow's sense is life's major task. It is the long journey toward living and working in alignment with one's singular self. It gives us a sense of deep satisfaction with the life we're living, a sense of participating in this full creative flow, a sense of the rightness of our own path. We're living much longer now, though, and as we reach that mountaintop, we can now see a higher peak in the distance. Self-actualization cultivates in us something that is essential for this next partnership with this existence, and that is a deep trust in the unseen workings of the universe. In the process of self-actualization, after many years of witnessing the pattern behind the pattern, the coincidences, the synchronicities, the moments of perfect timing we could never have orchestrated, we become familiar with the infinite intelligence moving beneath the surface. We recognize that our life has been guided in some mysterious and benevolent way all along. Life has been conspiring to help us, even when we were not aware of the choreography. Well, this dawning awareness, this trust, is significant for the Incarnation contract, period. Beyond this threshold, we begin to experience life, as James Carse described it, as an infinite game, one that resounds with a kind of laughter. Later life becomes a rich and unscripted dance with the very powers of evolution. The first 2/3 of life are about building and actualizing the self. The last third is about trust. It's about surrendering that self to a greater energy, giving it up, releasing control of everything. Actualization prepares the self for its own blissful dissolution. This is not dissolution into loss. It is a dissolution into a pleasantly unexpected, much richer obsession. Elderhood invites us to begin again as beginners, except now we bring the skill set, the humility, and the hard-earned wisdom gathered from decades of mistakes and failures and wins. But we must begin this time as coherent beings. This new stage requires full integration of both our light and our shadow. Self-actualization integrates the light, our gifts, our talents, our strengths. Now we must integrate the shadow, the subconscious scarring that lingers from the hurts we endured, the unhealed residue of childhood, all the ways this is manifested in our adult relationships, the aspects of ourselves we once disowned to survive, the defenses, the fears, the shame. The shadow is chock full of stuff that we would rather avoid, but we cannot if we are to become elders. To integrate the shadow means to allow our ugliness into awareness, to accept that we are both good and bad. This greatly reduces the possibility of their surprise appearance going forward. The shadow is very powerful. It surfaces when we least want it to. But here's the thing. It also harbors the specific gifts that are needed for our specific incarnation contract. funny that the universe chose to hide this task within the shadow self. We cannot enter this promised land without integrating our shadow. Why? Because the incarnation contract always requires us to hold humanity with great compassion. We can only hold humanity with great compassion if we have first held ourselves with great compassion. Some of us were given a portion of this capacity by our parents. Most of us have to earn it. But once the shadow is integrated, elderhood becomes inevitable. Inevitable. We are virtually home free. We've become clear enough to perceive the deeper purpose that was seated in us from the beginning. And most importantly, we are ready to become love. What is remarkable about this later life purpose is that it is bound to the direction of the culture. The incarnation contract is always responsive to the present times. It is concerned with what the world needs right now, not what it needed 50 years ago. So elders reside very naturally at the cutting edge of evolution. What is unfolding right now could not have been known until this very moment. The incarnation contract fits the unique gifts of the elder to the present needs of the culture. Elders become lovers of humanity. Sentimental affection, yeah, but also a spacious, steady, present-filled love that arises from a fully integrated soul, a love that blesses us quite easily. I carry a memory of a quiet-eyed elder woman from a church where I worked more than 30 years ago. Whenever we encountered each other, she would take one of my hands in both of hers and gently caress it the whole time we talked. Her warm caresses carved a permanent groove in my nervous system. I will never forget her. The incarnation contract unfolds through this easy and natural kindness and love. Lisa Rankin writes that this is the stage where we engage vitally with synchronicity, magic, and the mysteries of life itself. We are accompanied, guided, and supported by an intelligence that has been with us since the beginning. I often remind myself that I am responsible for my inner life and my body. Tara, the mother of all Buddhas, manages the rest. Perhaps the eternal manifests to you in a different way or by a different name. But this new awareness slowly transmutes our fear of death. As we glimpse the real, the lasting, the eternal, we become clear that we are more than biographies and bodies. It also begins to dissolve our fear of life, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of exposure. Elders come to understand that the task is to serve life itself, and so we seek alignment, we seek discipline, we seek silence. We want only to be useful instruments to the human evolution. So to summarize, elderhood unlocks capacities we simply cannot access earlier. It's not age, it is a developmental achievement, a quality of being that cannot be faked, something earned, not merely awaited. Elderhood is the moment in the human lifespan when our deepest purpose finally comes within reach. So thank you for listening to the Elders Inspire Awe podcast. I am myratara of Hera's Hermitage and the Sacred Mother Elders Council. The term incarnation contract was borrowed from Diane LeBlanc, although Diane uses it in a completely different way than I have today. Thanks again for listening.